Welcome to our Pfeiffer Men's Basketball Preview Show. Kendall Lewis here with you on the Pfeiffer Falcons Sports Network alongside Head Coach Jeremy Currier. Coach, thanks for joining us here this afternoon. You came off a magical year last year, 26-5, conference regular season champions, a trip to the NCAA Division II tournament, but now all of a sudden new faces, a new team, a whole new conference. With that being said, how have the first few weeks of practice gone?
It's been good. It's been good. It is a lot of new faces. We're trying to integrate 9 new guys. We have a core of returners that are back that have experience that were a big part of our season last year that have done a nice job leading. The culture is strong. There's high expectations within the group. They're a work group. Every day they're coming in with the mentality to improve. It's a little different having a condensed window. We didn't have a preseason, so today is practice 17. So we're trying to find that balance of getting everything implemented, installed, and then getting enough reps to get game ready. So it's been an exciting fall for us.
And last year you had a team, 4 out of 5 starters gone, a team that led the country in scoring, as well as some other stat categories as well. And I even made the comment, I thought it was unique last year. 4 of the 5 starters were all 1,000-plus point scorers in their careers here at Pfeiffer. A lot of point production. With that being said, you do have Josh Calhoun. He's one of those 1,000-plus point scorers in his career at Pfeiffer. He's back. What makes him so special?
His work ethic. He's been coachable the entire time he's been here. He lives in the gym. He strives for greatness. He's always in top shape. He's a lead by example guy. And he's been doing that since he's been here. This is his third year of being a captain for us. So he was a very important piece to not only last year's team but our growth as a program. His first year he redshirted here. He was in practice every day, pushed our guys, and he's a battle-tested veteran at this point. We just scrimmaged on Saturday at Emory and Henry at 25 points, 6 rebounds, 5 steals. So
wow.
He made a big impact, and he's the entire time he's been here, he's been going, trajectorying in the right direction. So we expect a big year out of him, and he expects a big year out of himself.
Absolutely. You do have some returners, Brendan Jones, Brian Harper, as well as Eric Ambrosio, Marcus Sawyers, all very good defenders. But now, is there more responsibility this year on those guys to score the basketball?
Yeah. I mean that, and I think they're ready for it. I think part of it last year is we had, people saw those 1,000-point scorers, but every day in practice we had great competes because those guys, are really hard workers. You use Eric Ambrosio as a guy that can really score it. We did an inter-squad last weekend, and he had 28 points. I mean, he's a guy that, in our system, he's so fast. He can get up the floor and make good decisions with the ball. I think he's poised for a big year. Brendan Jones has been terrific, and then Harper is, to me, as good of a point guard as there is because he just takes care of the ball at such a high level.
This is a Pfeiffer team. As Coach mentioned 9 freshmen. You got a couple transfers too, some guys that already have college experience. Who are some newcomers that have really stood out the first few weeks of practice?
Well, Javon Patton transferred in from USC Aiken. Before that, he was at Loyola in Maryland, with Division I. He's been really good, and part of it is he's performed everywhere he's been, but he fits our system really well. Can really play off the dribble. Terrific passer, can make shots. And then Nolan Whitener, who came from Catawba Valley Community College, is just a junkyard dog, which we need. Rebounder, effort guy, very vocal, really a winner in every facet.
You've always prided yourself on defense. Last year you guys led the nation in steals as well. Yep. Talk about your defense this year. You had a lot of speed last year, could really mix it up on presses and things like that. How does this team compare in terms of speed?
The same, maybe faster in some areas. When we, at that scrimmage last weekend, we finished the game, with a bunch of guys that are 5'8", 5'9". But we forced 36 turnovers against a 20-win team that, to me is a very good team. I think our press right now is ahead of everything else. Our press, we've been working on it day in, day out. Our press has been, pretty effective. The new guys are still learning, different rotations and different intricacies of what we want to do. But I think really, I can't see too many possessions that we don't want to press. I think we're built for that.
And you can score, we talked about you can score the basketball, but how big is your defense in terms of creating even more offense?
Yeah, big. We chart it every day. How much offense comes out of our defense? It's a big number. we forced 12 live ball turnovers in the scrimmage. We didn't convert at the rate we needed to, but there's nothing better than when we turn a live ball turnover and we get to penetrate up the floor and spread it out and get what we want. That's how we want to play when the game's starting to go back and forth. So we rely heavily on those turnovers to get, our philosophy is we want to get the ball down in offense before the team's defense is set up, and those turnovers allow us to do that.
You also had some additions on your coaching staff. Dave Feinstein joined the staff in October. You also promoted Pete Skosh to associate head coach. He's been around a while. I know you guys work well together. Talk about what Coach Pete means to Pfeiffer basketball.
Oh, a lot. He oversees a lot of our recruiting. He's in the trenches for all the recruiting. He's got terrific relationships with our players. Trust. He cares about the guys. Oversees academics. Helps them in every facet. I think the guys know that. And then from a non-player standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, just really sharp. Knows our system in and out. Like you say, been with us for 4 years. Knows, does a lot of our scouting, knows the opponents, studies the film, and I think he's like a 5-6 time coach of the year. So having him on the bench and having him in huddles is very effective.
And you were pretty quick last year before school got out to pick your captains for this year. Marcus Sawyers, Brian Harper, Josh Calhoun. Talk about what those guys bring, aside from just being in your system, that makes you want them to be the captains this year.
Well, I think the reason why we did that right after the season was because A.J. Clark, he was a 4-time captain. Of course, Josh has done it for a couple of years for us, but we really challenge those guys in the spring. We're losing, like you said, 4 or 5 starters. We graduated 6,000 points. Some teams don't do that in 2 years, So I knew it was going to be a time that there was going to be a lot of transition. We're adding new people to the locker room. So as soon as the season was over, I met with, it was Marcus Sawyers, Brendan Jones, and Josh Calhoun, and said, we have to start right now establishing an identity this spring. Without an Andrew Guerrero, without a Mike Smith, without an A.J. Clark, and really challenge those guys in postseason lifting. They play pickup all the time. The group needed to hear their voice, and I think that was an effective way because we had a group of returners that have built trust, built chemistry, and they went through that kind of growing phase last off season. Then you kind of throw an influx of new faces in the locker room, but we have some normalcy, we have some culture, and a lot of it, that's why we went with those captains right away. I usually wait until the fall, but I felt with losing so much, that was an area we need to address right away. And then we challenged them all summer, all fall. We had them working on different leadership programs, making them think about their leadership style because they're highly capable and great leaders, but we've never asked them to do that here. So I think they're ready for it. I think you can tell. Our practices have been great. The guys are locked in, and I think player leadership is the deal. That's the most important thing, and those guys are doing a great job.
Coach, always a pleasure to have you. Appreciate it. Pfeiffer will host Barber Scotia, the season opener, November 15th, 7 o'clock. Opening tip, Falcon fans, be sure to visit GoFalconSports.com as well as the Pfeiffer Athletics YouTube page, the Pfeiffer Sports Network's new home. We'll see you on November 15th.